understand that they're literally putting high school chapters of ours on a hate group next to the KKK and next to neo-Nazi groups. And I mean, we can laugh this off. There's an element to this. Remember that there was a shooter that went to the Family Research Council years ago, inspired by the SPLC list. This is them trying to make us basically surrender at Turning Point USA. We're going to do the opposite, and our students are only going to lean in even more.
Jessica, and it's
what
exposed.
Hate crime hoax?
The liberal goes, Justice Smollett, anyone?
No, I didn't
how about
say
the banana peel on the bench?
Yeah,
how about the
Walmart
noose
shooter
at the racetrack?
is a banana peel.
But they can't debate us on our ideas. They cannot have dialogue. They cannot actually go onto the merits of why they are right.
After Charlie Kirk was put on their watch list, he got shot. Well, they'll say things like, oh, Trump's targeting us. No. You know who cracked the case? The banks.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got to talk about the SPLC. They've been caught, busted, red-handed, blood on the hands, funding white supremacy in America. This is a left-wing group. Their whole mission is to prevent and stop these organizations from existing, right? But instead of that, they continue to manufacture hatred in this country, literally funding the events, including the Charlottesville Fine People on Both Sides white supremacist event that the left has been melting down about for years and loves to bring up and throw in Trump's face as if he had anything to do with that. But these idiots love that. Now they all of a sudden they're trying to backpedal, trying to do Uno reverse and say, oh, well, no, the SPLC was just hiring informants to infiltrate these groups and tear them down from the inside out. The only problem is, number one, they haven't torn down these groups from the inside. That's number one. And number two, law enforcement agencies are authorized to do this sort of thing because they're given authority by us, the people. Nobody gave any authority to the SPLC. And on top of that, the indictment is because the way the funds are being used, apparently the people who were giving funds to the SPLC didn't know that this was happening. So, for example, I could take my own money and hire people to do it, but I can't just take other people's money and not tell them, hey, I'm going to be, funneling a little bit of money here and there to just go towards, the Klan, the KKK. So I hope you don't mind because we're just trying to infiltrate them and take them down. We're going to be buying the Klansmen some lunch today, but it's just to take them down. Just trust me on this. Guys, you think that if this was somebody on the right, MTG, she's not a non-government official. You think if MTG was caught funneling money to the Klan, talking about she was trying to take them down from the inside, or she was hiring informants, you think that the left would let this go and just say, oh, she's just trying to hire informants? Hell no. Stop the cap. We're not trying to hear it, guys. Jessica Tarlov got into it with Gutfeld again today. I wanted to react to this because it looked like they got into a heated debate with Jessica, of course, capping for the radical left and the SPLC because that's what she does, and Gutfeld calling her basically a moron. So let's go ahead and react to this. By the way, guys, there's a new feature on YouTube where you can hype videos. So be sure to like the video, hype the video. It helps out a lot. Appreciate you.
I want to address the we all love each other. I hope that that is true, and I think fundamentally it is. But to say this all just started in 2014, the racism, let's revisit what Barack Obama's candidacy and presidency looks like. Let's revisit birtherism. Let's revisit terrorist
8 years he was president? How did that happen in a racist country?
No, I'm talking about the reaction to Barack Obama being president from
people
the
don't
guy
have
who's
to,
now
people don't have
president.
to like him and still not be racist.
I didn't say they were all racist, but to say that it came around, that 2014 is not the right timeline for this. It's just where the indictment starts.
No, it is. If you look at the charts where it shows how much racism and white supremacy is mentioned in articles and television shows, it explodes in 2014.
Right, and it's all a psyop. And that's where the problem is here. Now, listen,
What?
there has been long history of accusations of financial impropriety at the SPLC. This writer, Bob Moser, who worked there, he said he suspected he was working at a, quote, highly profitable scam. So
really?
That's,
wow.
Yes, because I researched for the segment. So that exists for sure. But the jump to what Jesse just said, that racism and white supremacy in this country is just a psyop, is ludicrous.
Not what
And
I
you're
said.
looking, you just did, you literally said,
I
psyop, roll the
said,
tape.
you beat us over the head with charges of racism
and it
for the
was
last
just a
decade,
psyop.
and it's because they
You
have a
said
$1
psyop,
billion
Jesse.
endowment,
Stop it.
and they're in bed with the
First of
media
all,
and the Biden administration.
It was 1% of the SPLC's budget that was doing this. And let's see it play out in court if it gets there. I want to see.
Guys, wouldn't this like at least like this was millions of dollars? What do you mean it was only 1% of the budget? Who cares if it was only 1% of the budget? That's like saying that only 1% of the United States budget. What billions of dollars? Like, guys, this is so. I can't stand it when people have this stupid talking point. Let's keep going.
Exactly what was going on if these donors do feel like they were defrauded from this. But the indictment itself is being spun by people that want to argue what you're arguing, Jesse, which is that we just all love each other and we don't have a white supremacy problem, that it's manufactured, that these hate crimes were staged, right-wing protests were fake. Just because one informant within the organization that put together Unite the Right rally was being paid by the SPLC does not mean that it was fake. Hundreds of white supremacists showed up.
Doesn't mean it was fake.
That white supremacist kid who showed up at Walmart to kill 23 brown people in Buffalo, 10 black people.
True somewhere.
The
That's
Tree
the
of Life
argument.
Synagogue.
It's true
No, but that is
somewhere.
where-
Whenever
it's
there's
beautiful. Show
a
me where
hate
that is.
crime hoax, Jessica, and it's
What
exposed,
hate crime hoax?
the liberal goes, Justice Smollett, anyone?
No, I didn't
how about
say
the
anything
banana
about
peel
Justice
on the
Smollett.
bench?
Yeah,
How about the
Walmart
noose
shooter
at the
is a banana
racetrack?
peel. What hoax have you actually seen here? You don't think that hundreds of people showed up at the Unite the Right rally that weren't this informant, that weren't persuaded by his vehicle that got them there? Which
Who was the informant?
I don't. What?
You don't know. Was it the leader?
In
An
the
informant
intent-
is not a leader.
Do you think there?
It's also. I
you
mean,
think there
that's
are
the
white
fo-
supremacists
that's.
there? That it's not real?
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Are you
All I
kidding
know
me?
is I never heard of it until the day that it happened. You act like you can take the word for a bunch of corrupt people.
Proud Boys.
So you're saying this wasn't created. You're saying this just was an organic event, just like every left-wing event. It just happened. All these right-wingers showed up.
No,
Nobody
it
else
can be
knew about it.
organized, but
And you know what?
the
Nobody
people are real.
Nobody.
The white
Okay.
supremacists
You know
are real who
what?
get the call to action.
Let me do the simplest
the call to
analogy.
action.
This is like when somebody says, on average, men are taller and way more than women. And then one woman goes, but what about her? And they point to a WNBA player. Yes, Jessica, I'll give you. There probably is a bigot somewhere. But you guys created a false flag that there was this immense movement going on in this country that then put targets on people like Charlie Kirk's back, and he's dead. And a lot of other people were either threatened, physically attacked because of a false flag, which painted an entire, basically, millions of people as white supremacists. You guys ran with it. Imagine if Trump had not won and Kamala Harris had won. Imagine where the SPLC would be now. Imagine how torn apart this country would be. And by the way, I hope that this thing mends, but I don't know, because there are people like you, Jessica, who have such a sunk cost in this belief that this is a belief you were tricked into believing, to think that there's all these racists hiding behind every Cracker Barrel. No, you know what the racists were? They were the anti-racist black activists who saw this as a way to go after whites. This racism that you created was designed to allow for a different kind of racism. And I go back to the contrast. We don't have to defend our racists because we don't know who they are, because you create them. Meanwhile, we don't have to make up your racist because you're standing there with Hassan Piker. These guys are right there in our face.
The comparison,
hold on, I gotta get.
Can you say the victims that they don't exist or whatever?
Yeah.
The 23 people who died in the Walmart in El Paso, going to Buffalo, going to the Tree of Life Synagogue, those were all
That is
killed.
not part that is not part of the psyop or the false flag. Of course, you're violating the exception to the rule fallacy.
I'm not.
Yes,
Jesse said everything is fine. We all love each other.
You know what he was doing.
I say we
gotta
love
get
each
Emily
other
in.
more than you guys make it out
Yeah,
today.
I've got to get
I want
Emily.
the country to be torn asunder, not you, your party, because that keeps you in power. If there's no more homelessness, there's no more homelessness
We're
money.
not in
If
power.
there's no more racism, there's no more racism money. If there's no more illegals, there's no more illegal money.
Hello.
Sound familiar? I think so.
Emily.
Cook with Crisco. Guys, everybody knows that racism is out there. I've seen it directly from every community, Black, Indian, white, Asian, Hispanic. And I've seen them hate on themselves. I've seen them hate on some other group of people, on every group of people. I've seen it all. The thing is, do I see it a lot? No. Does it affect me on a day-to-day? No. Is somebody out there going to say, well, it affects me? Well, okay, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. However, it's clear that there has been racism manufactured. There's people like Al Sharpton who race hustle, who literally get on TV every day and start talking about race each and every single opportunity that they get to invoke emotion, to control people, secure donations. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, you got this stupid organization out here funding it for whatever means that they're going to try to spin and do backflips and cartwheels to try to pretend as though this was a good thing that they were doing. We all know that at the end of the day, would you really put it past the left, given all the hoaxes that they love to discuss and push on the right, would you really put it past them to be funding these organizations, which obviously we have proof that this is happening, and the people who are paying money to this organization didn't even know. Would I ever give to an organization if I know it's going to benefit white supremacists even a little bit, be it for informants or not? No, I certainly wouldn't do that willingly. Right? So maybe the federal government could get away with stealing our money, but organizations like this for dang sure shouldn't be able to get away with it. But these are just my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Drop a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. I appreciate you guys watching. I'm out. Shout out to my members, patrons, and fellow anomalies: Cyber Noodle, 655, The Great, Bella Scott, Carpentier John, and Pinecone 6. I appreciate you guys every single day.
How do you defend what just happened where your southern law, whatever it is, has given money to KKK? They're supposed to protect people, and they're paying all these people, crooked as can be, millions of dollars going all to all these people that they're supposed to be protecting from, but they're actually supporting them because they want to have companies that they can protect and because they want to rig elections. That was all a rigged election. All of the things with Charlottesville, all of the stuff that they did.